Thank you so much for clicking on this video. In this video, we'll be looking at typical questions that will mainly come in GCSE paper 1. I have included in this paper 1 or 2 questions that could involve calculator, but most of them are paper 1 kind of questions where you don't need calculator at all to do. All right, so we will get started. The first question is on standard form, and the second one is on algebraic simplification. I would like you to pause the video and do question 1A and question 1A and B, and then question 2. Pause the video right now. Okay, so I hope that you pause the video and try this. So with the first one, I want to show you the answers to this, and then if you need me to go over, you will hold on to the video as I run through. So the first answer should be 4.56 to 10 to the power minus 4, and the second answer will be this. For question 2, if you've done it, the final answer should be this, even though some people might have left it at this point, and this is still okay. Factorizing is not really a requirement, so if you got that, this is just still fine. All right, now I want to run through it. If you got them correct and you want to move on, you can drag the video and just keep going. If not, hold, and then I'm going to run through them, especially through question B and through question 2. All right, so let's start. Now, question B. Question A should be really easy, so I'm not going over that. Question B, this can come in paper 1, and they'll be expecting, yeah, sorry about this, I'm just going to minimize this. They will be expecting that you can multiply 4.56 times by 32 without a calculator. They'll be expecting that. Okay, and then you put the decimal point back up. So let's do this. 2 times 6 is 12, carry 1. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11, carry 1. And then 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. All right. Then if you're times it by 3, obviously the 3 is a 10. So you're going to put 0 first. 3 times 6 is 18. You carry 1. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1 is 16. You carry 1 again. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13. So you then add this. So this is going to be 2, and that's going to be 9, and that's going to be 15 there. Carry 1. That's going to be 4, and that's going to be that. So when we multiply this by that, I'll be expecting to find these digits 14592. Now, where the decimal point is going to go, think about it. This number is around 3 if you round it. And this number is around 5 if you round it. Surely 3 times 5 should give us something close to 15. So I will know that the decimal point is going to go there. So then the whole thing is round about close to 15. Another way of looking at it is that when you're multiplying, the decimal places add up. So this number has got 1 decimal place. This has got 2. So they add up to make 3. So you see I've got 1, 2, 3 decimal places. Okay. Then I will now do the 10. When you're multiplying, you add the powers. I've got 5 plus minus 4, and that'll give me 1. Now, because the first number is not less than 10, I will divide this by 10 to give us 1.4592. Since I've divided this by 10 to make it less than 10, I will times this one by 10. And that will now make it 10 squared. Okay, so that's how to do that one. So let's see if the answer Max Kim had it right. Yeah, there you are. For question 2, we're going to go to question 2 now. Our question 2 is algebraic manipulation, and they just want us to simplify this. So there's nothing I can do here. These are all unlike terms, but I can open the bracket. So if I open the bracket, think that this is negative 2x, not 2x. So negative 2x times by 2x is going to be negative 4x squared. Negative 2x times negative 3y is going to be positive 6xy. So the first thing is opening the bracket, and then you're going to collect like terms now. You're going to need to collect like terms, so then I've got plus 9xy. So the x squared, I've got the 4x squared here, all right, this one, and I've got the minus 4x squared. So the x squared has gone. So the 4x squared minus 4x squared is gone. Then here, I've got this minus 9y squared, and is the only y squared term. So that's going to be minus 9y squared. And then here I've got 6y plus 6y, and that will be 12xy, positive 12xy. So this is just it. If you like, you can bring it the other way around. You do minus 9y plus 12xy. But there's no point doing this. This is just sufficient. You don't have to factorize. This is it. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go to the next question. And the next question is going to be, before you do the next question, just a reminder that if you go to YouTube and you go to Teacher Mr. Wino, there are also other videos I've done that you might find interesting. For example, there's biology, paper 1 there, as you can see. And there's also chemistry as well. And other papers, if you go to the playlist, you can find so many other papers that can be of use. If you subscribe to the channel, it's even better. So when I post the videos on any subject, it will just pop up in your phone or in your laptop and you can just use them. So if you're able to share, that would be really great. And if you can share with your friends from your school or a different school or siblings, that's also very great. Okay. Now we're going to go to the next one. We're going to go to the next one. The next one is going to be question 3. So pause the video and try question 3. You don't need to use a calculator for question 3. So pause the video and try question 3. Okay, now with this one, I want to go over it. If you've got 10, if you found k to be 10, if you found k to be 10 and r to be 30, now k, I'm going to show you what k means in a minute, but if you find the answer to be 30, then you are good to go. But I would suggest that you pay attention as I explain this. Okay, and explain now. Right, so basically, the red counters, the blue counters, they are in the ratio of 3 to 5. Now, what that means is this. What that means is this, look, that if I've got 8 counters, 3 of them and 5 of them would be blue. If I've got double that, then I'll be having 6 and I'll be having 10 here, and that'll give me 16. If I've got 3 times that, that's going to be 24, and that'll be 15, and that'll be 9. So basically, what we are saying is that the reds are in 3 times table, and the blues are in 5 times table. But as to how many they are, we don't know. We don't know. But you notice here that what I've done here, I've just times this one by number. I've just times that by 2, and this one I've just times this one by what? By 3. So what we are saying is this: the actual number of the counters you have will be a multiple of 8. That's what we are saying. So I'm going to times this by a number. Let me call it k. So if I times this one by k, I will have 5k here, and I will have 3k here. Okay? So the 8k is the actual total number of counters I have. But I don't know what k is. But they say that if 20 blue counters are added, so now, if the blues now are not just 5k, but they are 20 more, the number of red counters are still the same. That now, if I look at the ratio will have changed from 3 to 5 to 3 to 7. That's what they're saying. So I'm going to put here 3 to 7. So this is the information that I'm going to use to help me work out the value of k. All right? That's what we are saying now. So there are various ways you can do this. You can say that if you are to times this by something, you get that. You times that by the same thing. In other words, if I was to do 7 divided by this, I get the same answer as 3 divided by 3k. Or even the other way around. I'm gonna do 5k over 20, and I'm gonna do out of 7, and then I'm gonna do 3k out of 3. Those should be the same. For example, if I've got 2 to 3 as a ratio, and somebody else has got 4, and I've got 4 to 6, this is the same ratio, yes? Because I've just doubled it. What we are saying is that if you do 6 divided by 3, and you do 4 divided by 2, you get the same thing, which is 2. So that's what I'm using here. That's the logic I'm using here. So 5k over 20 over 5k plus 20 over 7 should give me this one. Now I just need to solve. Now, when you solve a question like this, the quickest thing you can do, you can multiply across like this. So I'm going to multiply 3 by 5k plus 20, and I'm going to multiply the 3k by 7. So when I open the bracket, I'll have 15k here, I'll have 60 there, and here I've got 21k. Okay? Then I can take 15k from both sides. So 15 from 21 will be so 15 from 21 will be 6k, and that should be equals to 60, which means k is going to be equals to 10. Now, what that means is that the counters I've got are 10 times more than this 8, which means I've got 80 counters. Those ones are 80, going to do 5 times 10 is going to be 50, 3 times 10 is going to be 30. So those are the counters I've got at this point in time. The red is what they asked for, and that should be 30. Okay, so that's how to do that question. That's how to do that question. Okay. Now we're going to go to the next question. The next question is on geometry. So things like angles and triangles. So I'd like you to pause the video and try this one. Again, you don't need calculator for this question. So pause the video and try question 4. Okay, so I hope that you pause the video and try question 4. If you've got the answer as 170 over 3, if you got the answer for x as 80 over 3 somewhere, and the angles as 60, 170 over 3, and 180 over 3, all right, then you're good to go. Now, this question doesn't require a calculator because you don't have to find exactly what the angles are. You just need to do what? You can leave them as fractions. There's no problem in that. And to work out what the type of the triangle is, you can just compare the answers you got. So this one, if I just go through this quickly, the 3 angles in a triangle are normally that, and they add up to make 180. So you form an equation. If you simplify the equation, 2x plus 3x plus x is 6x, and then 10 minus 20 is 10, is minus 10. Minus 10 add 30 is positive 20. So this is the next level of the equation. You simplify, and then you just solve. How do you do that? You're going to take away 20 from both sides. That will give you 160, then divide by 6. So the answer will be 8 over 3. 8 over 3 is approximately equal to 3 into 8 twice, remainder 20, remainder 2. So that will be 6 point something, like 6.7 recurring degrees. So this is it. Now, let's find the 3 angles of the triangle. So how do you do that? Where x is, you sub in 80 over 3. That's all. So I'm going to do 2 times by 80 over 3, add 10. And I can do that with the calculator. All right, this is going to be 160 over 3. That's 160 over 3. And then I'm going to add 10. Now, if I put 3 there, then that has to be 30, isn't it? Because I want common denominator. So that would then be 190 over 3. That's what they've got here. The same thing I'm going to do with C, and I'm going to do with B. If you do that, you find that the angles are all different, and that means that we got scalene triangle. The scalene triangle is a triangle where all the 3 angles are different, and we have something called scalene acute. Scalene acute angle means that there's no angle more than 90. Okay, there's no angle more than 90. But the most important one is to say that there is a scalene triangle. All right. Okay, now we're going to move on to question 5. Let's move on to question 5. I would like you to pause the video and try question 5. Again, you don't need to calculate at all on this question. Let's look at this. Now, we want to solve it by factorizing. Now, when you're factorizing quadratic like this, and there's a number at the front, what you need to do, you times it by the one at the back. So if there's a coefficient of x squared different from 1, you have to take this coefficient times by the one at the end and write it down. That will be negative 6. Then you pull out the coefficient of x in the middle, which is going to be negative 5. Then now think about 2 numbers that you will times to get negative 6, and you add to get this. So think about them. So that's going to be negative 6 and 1. If you times them, you get this. If you add them, you get this one. Now, what you're going to do with them is this. The minus 5x in the middle, you will split it into these 2 new numbers. So I've got 3x squared. And I'm going to put negative 6, but put x with that. And then I'm going to add 1x. So negative 6 and 1. This is what you do. And then you take away 2, and then you put 0. Now, what you then do now, you're going to factorize them in pairs. You're going to factorize them in pairs like this. The first pair and the second pair. The first pair, if I factorize that, I can pull out 3x. Now 3x times x is 3x squared, and 3x times 2, negative 2 is negative 6x. The other side, there's nothing I can factorize other than 1, and you have to write that 1. 1 times x is x, 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. and that'll be equal 0. At this point in time, the coefficients of the bracket, so the 3x plus the 1 will go in one bracket, and then you keep the other one bracket, and that'll be equal 0. So you factorize it. Now to solve it, I'm going to equate each bracket at a time to 0. And then if you take away one, the other side from both sides, we'll get 3x. And then if you divide by 3, this is going to be the value. So x is negative a third. You can also do this x minus 2. So if you do x minus 2 equals 0, x is going to be equals to what? 2 on that. So these are the two answers. We have solved it by factorizing. If you want to use commutative square, again, you can do that. But in this video, I've decided just to factorize it. Okay, now we will move on to question 6. We'll move on to question 6. Question 6 is going to be on fractions and bounds. Fractions and bounds. So question 6. Okay, so it says work out the upper and the lower bounds when you divide. Now, think about a number 3.47 rounded to 2 decimal places. Now, what this clearly means that this number could have been 3 point something on the lower end and 3 point something on the upper end. So the range of values of the numbers that will round down to 3.47 is what I'm looking for. I always use a number line. So this number I've got is 3.47. All right, the next one in 2 decimal place will have been 3.48, and the one below will have been 3.46. Now, the smallest number that will round up to 3.47 is in the middle here, and that's going to be 3.465. You just add this together and then divide by 2 to give it that. Then it will have been less than this boundary here. Again, I add together and I divide by 2. So that's that. So the A, this A, there's something called the error interval. The smallest number that A could have been would have been 3.465, but less than 3.475. So this is the range of A. The same thing you're going to do with B, the same approach. So B will be bigger than 0.815 if you do the same approach, but less than 0.825. So this is the first thing you need to do now. Now, since you are dividing, to get the biggest number when you divide two numbers, let's say I want to get the biggest number when I divide it. So I'm going to say upper bound. Upper bound is the biggest number. Upper bound is the biggest number. When I divide A by B, I will need the biggest possible number. So I will need 3.475. So I'm going to assume that A takes that value. And then B will have to take the smaller value, 0.815, to give me the largest answer. If I want to find the lower bound, I'll do the other way around. The number I'm dividing, A, should be as small as possible. And I should be dividing by a bigger number, 0.825, the biggest number it can be. So this is it. Now this one will require that you use calculator in this case. If it says no calculator, then leave your answers as fraction like this. Even though this one says 2 decimal places, you are allowed to use your calculator in this context. Okay. So this will be the answers. This is it. All right, now you're going to go to question 7. You're going to go to question 7. Question 7 is combinatorics. And I want you to pause the video and try question 7. Okay, so I hope that you've done question 7. Now let me go over question 7. Now the password, if you want to move on, the first answer for A is 1,200 and the other one is 480. So if you're confident and you want to move on, fine, just move on. Okay. Otherwise, I will go over question 7 now. So I'm going to go over question 7. Now, when you get a question like this, create spaces for your password first. It's a 5-digit password because I've got 3 different letters and 2 different digits. The letters first. Okay. So create spaces for the numbers. You cannot use a letter or a number more than once. So how many different passwords can you make? Now, in the first place here, I have to have a letter. I have to have a letter. The first three must be a letter. So to start, I've got I've got 5 letters. So in this one, I've got 5 possibilities. Any of those letters can go there. But once I've used one, the next one will have 4 options, and that will have 3 options. So I'm done with the letters. With the numbers, I can choose from these 5. So the first option for the numbers will have 5. The second one will have 4. Now, all I need to do now is to multiply these numbers, because in maths, when you use the word and, you times. So in the first place, I've got 5 options and 4 options and 3 options. You just multiply them, and that will give you the answer for the number of pins you can have. For part B, it says how many of these passwords start with a vowel. Now, listen. If I have to start with a vowel, I've only got E and A. So in the first position here, I can only have 2 options. And then in the second one, I will also have 4. Why? Because even though I've used one of the vowels, but altogether I've only used one letter. So in the second one, I've got 4 options, then I've got 3 options. All right. As for the numbers, they are still going to be 4 and 5 because the numbers have not been used. So this is the answer. Okay. So if you multiply them, these are the answer you're going to get. All right. Now we go to question 8. We're going to go to question 8. Question 8 is on combined mean. So I'd like you to pause the video and try question 8. Pause the video and try question 8. Okay, now when you have 2 groups like this, all right, do not try to add 68 and 75 and divide by 2. Don't do that, because the number of students in each group, they are different. So if you've done this and you got the answer as 70.8, then you can move on, and the next one as 72.09 or roughly 72, then you can move on. Okay, so let me move on. Let me now do, it says work out the combined mean. To work out any mean, you have to get the total and divide by the total frequency. Okay, so for these 2 classes, the total is going to be the mean for the first class times by how many there are, and the total for the second class will be the mean for the second class times by how many they are. This will give me the total. Then I divide by the total number in both classes, which is going to be 20. I divide by 12 plus 8. And if I put this in my calculator or just do division, then that will give me approximately what the mean is. And in this case, it should be about 70.8. Should be about 70.8. That's combined mean. There is something called isotope. There's something called relative mass of an isotope. If you think about chemistry, it's always something like this that you have to do. Question B. If 2 students with scores of 85 each join the second group, find the new overall mean. That's not difficult. The total in both classes added together was 1416. Now we have 2 more students coming with 85, which means we're going to add 170 to the total score for the classes together. All right. And then we're going to divide that by 22, because now they are not 20 students, they are 22. So I'm doing 1586 divided by 22, and that'll give me roughly about 72 as the mean. Okay. So that's how to do this one. Now let's move on to question 9. Let's move on to question 9. I would like to pause the video and try question 9. Question 9 is strictly no calculator. But if you're using calculator, you have to show how you got sine 30 or cos 60. You have to show how you get that. So pause the video and try this. Pause the video and try this. Now, before I go over question 9, I want you to remember this triangle. If you have not done this before, the triangle that you need to use to work out anything to do 30 degrees and 60 degrees is equilateral triangle. This equilateral triangle, we normally prefer to use 2 centimeters as the dimension. So everything is 2 centimeters. And this is going to be 60 degrees here. And that's going to be 30. And that's going to be 6, that's going to be 60. So if I put 60 here, and I put 60 here, that's going to be 60. But the idea is that you now divide it into 2 triangles. So then you have this like this. You have this like this. And this is 2 centimeters. And this is 30 degrees. and this is 60, obviously. All right, and then that's 90. Now, using Pythagoras theorem, this is 1, by the way, and this is 1, because we halved it. This is what centers. If I use Pythagoras, this one is going to be square root of 3 centimeters, okay? That's going to be 2 squared minus 1 squared. So it's 4, take away 1, which is 3, root it, root 3. Done. So with this one, I can find anything to do with sine and cosine anywhere. But let's look at this question now. It says that the angle A is 30 degrees. So I'm just going to put angle A here as 30 degrees. And AB is the hypotenuse. The longest side is hypotenuse, that is AB. All right, so this angle will be 60, definitely. Because 30 plus 60 plus 90 will make what? Right angle. Now, A to C. A to C. So this is C. So A to C is 10 centimeters. Find, and AB is hypotenuse, find the exact length of AB. So they want us to find this one here. They want us to work out this length C. All right, now I can use SOHCAHTOA to help me here. I'm not going to use Pythagoras because I don't know what CB is. This triangle I've given you here is just a standard. We're not saying that C is 2 centimeters, no. But these triangles, this and this are just similar. All right? This and this, they are similar. They are an enlargement of each other. They're just similar, but they're not exactly the same. They're not congruent. All right, now let's go. So to do this, I can use this 30 and I can use the adjacent side. So to this 30, this is the adjacent side. It's the side nearer to it, and this longest side is the hypotenuse. So really, I need H, because no, I don't need H. Find the exact length of BC. They want me to find this one, so I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use A and I'm going to use O, because they want the opposite side to 30, right? They don't want hypotenuse, they want CB. And CB or BC is just the side opposite. So I've got A and I've got opposite, which means I'm going to use tan. I'm going to use TOA to do this job. So tan of A is 30 degrees. So tan of 30 degrees, that is the angle. That's going to be equals to the opposite, which is CB, which is this opposite here, divided by the adjacent, which is 10. So I just need to multiply this across. So CB or BC is going to be 10 times by tan, 30. Now, what is tan 30? If this is 30, the tan is always equals to the opposite over adjacent. So with this one, I'm just going to do 10 times by the opposite over adjacent. The tan of 30 will always be 1 over root 3 or equivalent to that. So this is the answer. It's going to be 10 over root 3. We can leave it like this, or we can rationalize. I've got 10 over root 3. I can rationalize times the bottom by the top and bottom by the bottom. That'll give us 10 root 3 there over 3. So this is the exact, or you can leave it like this. You see that? So this is it. Question C, find the area of triangle ABC. That's not difficult, because the area is half base times height. Base times height divided by 2. So I'm going to do a half. The base is CB, which is 10 root 3 over 3. And that times by the height, which is 10. Okay, so this is the answer. I can cancel the 2 with this 10. It's going to be 5. And then 10 times 5 is 50, root 3, all divided by 3. So this is the area. That's question 9. So that's how to go about that one. Hopefully there's no mistake in the mark scheme. Sometimes there is mistake in the mark scheme, but I can see that this is still the same. Right, so now we're going to go now to question 10. Let's go to question 10. I want you to pause the video and try question 10, and this is going to be the last one. Pause the video and try question 10. All right, so question 10. Solve the inequality algebraically and show you working out. Now, listen. I can pretend this is a quadratic graph, right? It's a quadratic graph. If I want to sketch it, let me just pretend I want to sketch this. What I can do, I can make y be 0, and then I can find root of my quadratic graph. Let y be 0. So I can just sketch it. But first I'm going to factorize. Two numbers you times get negative 5, and you add to get 4 will be x minus 5 and x plus 1. Now, if I solve this one at a time, x will be 5 and x will be negative 1. So what I can do, I can draw my graph. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. The x coordinate where it's going to cross is going to be on negative 1. So that's the root. And also 5. So my graph will look kind of, let me remove this so it's a bit more realistic. So I put maybe 5 there. So it will go something like this. It's quadratic, so you have to be able to sketch it properly. That's quadratic. Now, but we're looking for the value where the graph is under the y-axis because it's less than 0. So it's going to be here. It's going to be here. So our answer is that x is going to range between these numbers, negative 1 to 5. Anything bigger than negative 1 but less than 5, if we sub it in, will give us a negative number. As you can see, this graph is negative here. So this is the answer to that. And we can show that on the number line. So negative 1 is here and 5 is here. We just draw a line that joins them. So that's it. Okay. Now, hence find the integer values of x that satisfy this and this as well. All right. Now, listen. We are looking for the x values that would give us this. And we say that they are bigger than 1 and less than 5. This other one say that x is bigger than 1. Now, if x is bigger than 1, then we are talking about here, look, we are talking about that into this direction. So we can go forever. So the integers that will fit into this equation and that one will be 2, and will be 3, and will be 4. Do you see this? So 2, 3, and 4 are bigger than 1, but at the same time, less than 5. That's what we are saying here. So the answer will be 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So that's that. If I show you the answers, hopefully there's no mistake in the answers. That's how to do that one. Just a reminder, if you go to the website, to the internet, to the YouTube, Teacher Mr. Wino, you can find various videos of various topics in the playlist, whether it is maths, biology, chemistry, physics, 11 plus, GCSE, secondary. This is the place you need to go, and then you just search up what you need. Even year 7, year 8, this is the place you want to go. Okay. So thank you so much, and that's it.